We're live. Okay, hello everybody. Mr. Kirpin, all rise. Mr. Kirpin's going to lead us in the pledge.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. On three, 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance
To
to
the
the
flag
flag
of the
of the United States
of
of
America
America
and
and
to
to
the
the
republic
republic
which
for
is
which it
which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and
and
justice
justice.
for all. Be seated, everyone. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Can anybody tell me how many people are in the audience? I'm never able to figure that out. How many viewers? Anybody?
Looks like there's 37,
Ms. Johnson.
but I'm one of them, so
Okay, how many? I'm sorry.
37, 36.
We're losing
Okay.
viewers quickly. Quick, say something. We're down to 35.
Okay, well, I'm going to do something really quick. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Callahan for the roll call.
Got it. Okay, Mrs. Johnson,
I am here.
Mrs. Weisberg,
Here.
Mrs. Bays, is she not here?
Oh, she's not here tonight, no, but she sends her regards to everybody.
Miss Brooks,
I am here.
Miss Gilliard, Mr. Greenstein,
I am here.
Mr. Turpin.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Callahan. Gonna make a motion to adopt the agenda of today, June 23rd, 2020. Do I have a second? Mr. Kirpin, Mrs. Callahan, would you please take the vote?
Certainly. Mrs. Johnson,
Here.
Miss Weisberg,
Yes.
Miss Brooks,
Yes.
Miss Gilliard,
Yes.
Mr. Greenstein,
Yep.
and Mr. Turpin.
Here. Or rather, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Now on to my opening statement, which is going to be short. As people I believe know, this is the last meeting of the 1920 school year, and it's been quite a roller coaster for most of us. I really want to express, first of all, thank you and gratitude to every student who got through the year, and they all did. And it was challenging, and we stayed port strong. All the parents and other family members who supported the students. I'd be remiss in not thanking every single staff member. I don't want to miss anybody, but I would say that the entire Port Washington staff pulled together and helped us get through is no doubt one of the most challenging episodes in most of our lives, the last 4 months, and we of course still face more. Congratulations to the high school seniors who are virtually graduating this Thursday. I know they had some wonderful celebrations, and I unfortunately wasn't able to attend, but I heard they were very much appreciated. So thank you to the high school staff and for the Schreiber HSA and everybody else who participated. So congratulations to the class of 2020 in advance. Likewise, the Weber students who are moving up, great job. Congrats to you and your families, and all the elementary schools who had their elementary school moving up ceremonies, which I hear were just beautiful. And I did get to see some of the photos, and fabulous time. So thank you to everybody who made that happen. It really took teamwork And thank you to the board we've been together on this, working together through this. And one of our board members is leaving. We're not going to mention that right now. There's a new person coming in, which is good, but it's always bittersweet. You know, tonight we're going to be saying goodbye and best wishes to a number of staff members who are retiring. We're going to be saying thank you and show our gratitude to HSA presidents who are outgoing, although we know many of them will be back because we always come back. And other staff members too who are moving on to new things and wishing everybody well. So without further ado, we are going to start now with the various, and I just want to say normally, for those of you who haven't been in one of these, of course, normally we have a big meeting and we have flowers and we have cheering and we have family members present and a full auditorium. And it's just a really feel-good last board meeting. I mean, I hope everybody is in their homes with family members if we're saying goodbye to them for now, and making the most of this, because I know that's what we want everyone to be doing. For the certificates, first we have, I don't know, is Adrian Kane, are you on the line? Adrian, are you here yet?
I am, Nora. Here I am.
Okay, well, Adrian is actually the first one up to, this is, you know, like our Adrian and parent council's loss is the school board's gain.
Ms.
But-
Johnson, I'm
Yes,
so sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to make sure you knew this. The chat is still disabled. So I don't know whether you want the chat enabled in order to have people have well wishes for the HSA presidents and whatnot. It's certainly your prerogative. If we were to enable it, we would have to stop and start like we did at that budget meeting. So just making sure you know.
well, thank you for letting me know. I actually thought it was on, and thank you for that. So maybe we can do whatever we need to do.
Nora, if you wouldn't mind, actually, if the viewer, if they want to be able to do that, what they have to do, I'm just talking to John right now, the viewer has to reload the stream in order to then access the chat. So the chat is enabled right now, and thanks, Dave, for bringing that to our attention. So all they have to do is, you know, just go on again, refresh, and then they'll be able to do it.
I just did that, and I apologize. You are correct. I should have clarified only with that. I'm sorry for the interruption, but I'm glad at least it's clear to anyone watching that wants to congratulate our fantastic HSA leaders.
Well, Dave, that is the last time you're going to be interrupting me as a trustee, but it's okay. It is absolutely fine. And what I was saying is that now Adrian Kane is going to speak a few words about the outgoing parent council president.
Thanks, Nora. I've always loved this quote from Christopher Reeve. Once you choose hope, everything is possible. Every time Julie Epstein steps in front of a microphone, helps to organize an event, or joins a Zoom meeting, she offers hope. Hope toward improving the situation, moving towards a compromise, and giving the team hope. I'm honored to be here tonight to let everyone know how we feel about Julie and shine a light on someone who tirelessly donates their time, enthusiasm, and gives hope to our community. So many of us know Julie by reputation, but what we all know is that she is a rare person who simultaneously is a philanthropist as well as a doer. She does before she is asked, offers help, and freely doles out sage advice. On behalf of the Parents Council, HSA, and PTA presidents who are privileged to have been part of your legacy, and we have been grateful, and we are grateful to have benefited from your mentoring. I will quote the Golden Girls. Thank you for being a friend, not only to me and the presidents, but to the entire district. We have all benefited and luckily will continue to do so as you will soon join the Board of Education as a trustee. Thank you so much for appreciating us. We certainly appreciate you. Back to you, Nora. Yay.
Thank you, Adrian, for that
Thanks, Nora.
beautiful, heartfelt statement about Julie, and we certainly agree with everything, and we're very excited to have her joining our board. Thanks again. Next we have up, the principals are going to recognize and say a few words about their outgoing HSA presidents. I guess we can start with, I was going to start with elementary schools. Who is elementary here? Bonnie. Dr. Cohen, would you like to do the honors first?
I would certainly like to do that. Good evening. It is my pleasure to say a few words of thanks to the amazing team of Liz Melman and Jessica Melwani, who together partnered with me these past few difficult months. Because of both of you, we were able to maintain communication with the Manor Haven community throughout the pandemic, bring some Manor Haven spirit to our children, and help provide our families with everything they needed to be able to learn from home. This is also the perfect opportunity to thank the Manor Haven PTA for supporting so many wonderful programs for our children this year. Just to name a few, we had a yoga club, STEM club, chess club, and an edible garden program. We had author visits and teaching artists and trips for our grade levels. It was during these past 2 years that the Manor Haven Playground was funded and the School-Based Diversity Committee began. I also thank the PTA for contributing to our beautiful entranceway decals that celebrate the diversity in our school and welcome visitors in every language. Saying goodbye and thank you to our outgoing co-president is always difficult, especially this year. Thank you, Liz, for your calm and steady presence. Your enthusiasm and Manor Haven spirit was amazing throughout our weeks at home. You were the role model family. You may not know this, but your children's teachers were sending me stories and pictures of your enrichment lessons at home. My favorite was making muffins to learn fractions. Or was it the Harry Potter escape room after your son found Harry Potter during the quarantine? Or maybe it was the garden beds that you planted to bring the daily dose of nature assignments to life each day. Just incredible. You've done everything and a new puppy too. I am looking forward to working with you next year when you join the Compact Committee. If it's not one thing, it will always be another with Liz. Thank you very much for your dedication to Manor Haven School.
Thank you, that was great. Dr. Suzanne, would you like to say a few words about your outgoing HSA presidents?
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. In my mind, one of the qualities an HSA president at Daly School must display is to be effective. To be effective is having the ability to not only run as fast as I can, which these days is just a metaphor, but share my own passions and visions for our school community. Amanda Kowalczyk exceeded any and all of these expectations from the day we met. Amanda began, as most of our leadership does, by simply volunteering on a committee. For Amanda, that was helping with our annual talent show, which has now become known as the Daily Review. Our shared love of theater arts was evident through her countless hours of working with our students during their lunchtime, coordinating the efforts of the parents, and basically getting any job done, helping to grow the Daily Review into a now standing tradition in our school. Not many parents would give up their own free time day after day to help wrangle a group of 4th and 5th graders during their lunch and recess. Over the last 2 years, I've had the honor of working closely with Amanda. Her quick response to any and all of my crazy ideas, including our first full school Thanksgiving feast this year, with a brand new daily shirt for each and every student and staff member, will never be forgotten. Amanda has helped to secure funds and programming for anything dreamed up by myself or the staff, ensuring that each and every student has what they need when they need it. This year, the HSA continued to support dancing classrooms and many enriching activities in the arts, including Taekwondo, yoga, and many, many other things. Thanks to the HSA, students were also part of our first ever after-school art club with Ms. Burton. During these last few months, Amanda has been our head cheerleader, keeping the calm at Daly School. Her trust in myself and the entire staff has been invaluable, and I am eternally grateful. Amanda would appropriately tip me off and partner with me so that extremely strong homeschool connection would stay intact. We treated each other with mutual respect, gratitude, and friendship. There has been so many long days with silver linings during distance learning. The day Amanda and her co-president Maris showed up at my doorstep with their kids, bringing gifts of thanks for me being the principal, was just one of the ways her quiet leadership inspired me to go on just another day over these last few months. Amanda, you have guided the HSA through this unprecedented time, showing our future leadership how to be not only an effective parent volunteer, but one who works closely with the school community with a shared goal, filled with mutual respect, admiration, style, and grace. On behalf of the entire Daly community, we thank the entire Kowalczyk family for loaning your mom to us. Amanda, endless thanks for your hard work, dedication, and support. I am eternally grateful for your partnership, friendship, and for always, always having my back. Lucky for us, Colin just finished first grade.
Ah, beautiful. I was just looking at the next one, sorry.
Well,
No,
good.
that was great.
I hope she's out there. It's so hard.
No, thank you so much. That was great. Now we have Regina McLean, who will have, actually has a number of people to talk about, because Regina will be recognizing our retiring teachers.
Thank you, Nora. I won't be making 15 speeches for our 15 retirees. I'll save everyone some time, but I really do appreciate you having me here today to speak about the teachers who are retiring. We do have a large number. I'm going to read their names in reverse alphabetical order, because I think the people with the letter Z always get last. So I'm going to do Z first. Denise Zanalden, Pat Charles Wolfert, Kim Rosenbaum, Karen Mulqueen, Angela Morphy, Jeff Moss, Eva Minnenberg, Louise Lindemann, Nancy Klotz, and then the Fishes. We have Diane Fish, Denise Fish, and Don Fish, Sharon Frank, Ray DiGiacomo, and Amy Booth. We're going to fill the positions that they are vacating, but we will never replace them. Whenever a teacher retires, it is a sad moment for all of us and a loss for the district to lose a master teacher. Nevertheless, we are happy for all of them and wish all of them a relaxing, rewarding, and enriching retirement. And I'd also like to congratulate Dr. Westervelt on your retirement, and Stephanie Joannin and Teresa Tiberia. And I know I'm missing some other people, but best wishes to all of you. And I hope we can celebrate in person someday in the future.
Thank you, Regina. Now that I did a little segue away from the principals, just to mix it up a little bit, we're going back to the principals.
She took me off guard.
I thought I'd make it more interesting for everybody. Now we will have Pia Ferrante, please, to speak about the outgoing HSC at Salem.
Hi, everybody, and good evening. I'm happy that we have this opportunity because we all say how much HSAs do for us, but this really allows the principals the opportunity to celebrate just how much the organizations enrich our curriculum with amazing programs. I always say that the school is great without these programs, but these programs are the memory makers for our students. Even though the school has been closed for a few months this year, we were still able to accomplish a lot. Because of the HSA, this year, Salem's first graders drummed and danced with Alvin Ailey. Our second graders became circus artists. Our fourth graders became NASA scientists through submerged storytelling. And our fifth graders danced their way into our hearts with dancing classrooms. This is just the tip of the iceberg on how the HSA has enriched our curriculum. They hosted events such as STEM night, blood drives, book fairs, Valentine's Day sales, and of course, our famous new decals on our stairs and in our bathrooms, and much, much more. Salem HSA gives us more than I can even ask for. I thank the entire HSA and parent community, and especially the co-presidents, Aaron Scott and Cara Harissa-Ferradas, who donated endless hours of time. I want to take this moment to especially thank Aaron Scott, Salem's outgoing president. For the past 2 years, we have worked alongside one another as president and principal. Cara and I wish that we could be honoring you in person rather than through these virtual meetings, but this will have to do. Both of us truly appreciate all of your hard work and dedication, along with your creative thought process and out-of-the-box thinking. Your support these past 2 years has been appreciated, especially navigating these past few months. Kara says she has big shoes to fill. I know she will do just fine, but I also know that you will be missed by many. We will be sure to rope you into volunteering and planning the 5th grade events next year. Sorry, the Scott family, she is not finished just yet. Thank you so much, Erin, for all that you have done.
Thank you so much. Is Dr. Mioli or Dr. Liccato? I don't see either of them, but I assume they're both here. Dr. Mioli?
I'm here.
Okay.
Unseen, but not forgotten.
Well, I do see you now.
There you go. So it's my pleasure to briefly honor Mrs. Jessica Feingold for her many contributions to the Souza family over the past few years. And it is, volunteers beware, only about 3 years that Jessica has been part of the Souza family. As she so eloquently writes in her final Souza Notes letter, Jessica was recruited by a neighbor into being co-chair of the Souza Apparel Committee a short time after arriving in Port Washington. Less than a year and one very serious cup of coffee later, she was convinced by an outgoing president to take on that role for our HSA. In very short order, the Souza family learned that Jessica Feingold just wasn't going to say no when it came to her school and her kids. But like the Eskimo, who are reported to have 50 words for the word snow, a conversation with Jessica may involve several different variations of the word yes. Most of the time, that word is presented as an elision between yeah and okay, up about an octave and a half where dogs hear, with a slight shrug of the shoulder, as in, hey, would you get some parents together to take Shake and Sharon around to the classrooms to introduce the Booster-thon videos? Yeah, okay, might be the response. Other times, yes, would be more of a monosyllabic question, as in, I have to update you on the Souza vestibule. Yes. That would be a challenge by Counselor Feingold that she was parsing every word that would come next and expect cross-examination. And then there was the yeses that signaled the end of the conversation, as in, what would you think if we only had one night HSA meeting this year? To which the response might be, yeah, coupled with a little grimace. No translation, let's find other options. But seriously, for making a difference in a short period of time and leading through difficult situations, Jessica is right up there with my all-time president list. Sorry, Nora.
I'm a little concerned here.
From helping redo the River of Kindness to helping advocate for one of Souza's 5th grade art projects in her first year as co-president. By the way, some of you saw the fruits of that labor this afternoon, thanks to Mr. Stephen Moore's continuing brilliant work, to bringing the Booster-thon to Souza and helping navigate the school through virtual Souza Social Night, kind of conversations with Dr. Mioli, and remote HSA meetings. Jess has been a rock star. Thank you, Jessica, for all you have done for our staff, our school, and our kids. As you know, there are 2 traditions that outgoing Souza HSA presidents hold near and dear to their hearts. I see that you have indulged in the first, having a lobster roll, signaling the end of your presidency. And the second, serving as parent liaison for the next year's Souza Safety Committee. So, see you around the quad.
Thank you, Dave. Dr. Liccato. Is anybody, Kim Liccato?
Hi, Nora, it's Meg. I'm speaking on behalf of Dr. Liccato tonight.
Oh, thank you, Meg. Okay.
You're welcome. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Dr. Liccato and myself, I would like to thank our 2 co-presidents who will sadly both be leaving us this year. We cannot thank them both enough for all their hard work and dedication to Guggenheim Elementary School over the last few years. Nicoletta Gargas has spent over a decade at Guggenheim Elementary School, where she has had 3 children go through the school, her last being her daughter, Alexandra. Despite the fact that she works a part-time job, she has dedicated hundreds of hours, sometimes each month, to Guggenheim and on all the initiatives and fundraisers that have happened here at our school. Whenever she had a moment to herself, she was at Guggenheim volunteering her time to make our school a better place for our staff as well as our students. She has supported many of our programs and volunteered her time to ensure that all students have experiences outside of the academic school year through a variety of cultural, mindfulness, and yoga programs. These programs surely made our Googies more well-rounded and cognizant of the world around them. She is a cheerleader for our school and has always been supportive of all of our initiatives and never once hesitated to lend a helping hand. We will forever miss her spunky and positive outlook on life and her constant desire to support our administrative efforts within the building. Although we will miss her daily presence at Guggenheim next year, we are thankful we will get to experience firsthand her new role as Parent Council Co-President. We are certain she will continue to make a difference here in our schools in Port Washington, and we are forever grateful for her service to us. Jen Sinkyu has also been a parent these past 6 years at Guggenheim Elementary School, where she has had 2 boys, Peter and Ben, go through our school. Jen has dedicated a tremendous amount of time to our building, despite the fact that she also works a full-time job and manages her personal life as mom and wife. There is never a dull moment when Jen is around, as we often laugh about her quote-unquote alternative life with a private driver, fancy jewelry, extravagant work trips around the world. She has become our resident tech support person and always lends a helping hand to our school in every way she can. She is friendly and down to earth and will never turn down the opportunity to support our school in any way we need her. We will miss her humor, flexibility, and willingness to make every and any situation manageable for us to attain. As she moves on from our school, we hope she comes back to visit often and continues to be an honorary member of our HSA organization. The leadership of both of our co-presidents, along with the tireless participation of our HSA, has allowed our students to benefit from so many amazing opportunities at Guggenheim this year. Their dedication to our hugely successful Boostathon, where we raised over $20,000 to bring additional technology programs and devices to our students, definitely soared beyond our expectations. And a huge shout out to all the parent volunteers who dedicated their time to our Winter Wednesdays program, which brought our students outdoors to hike through the preserve no matter what the weather, practice yoga, and help them to always be mindful in all they do. We have been so lucky to have an amazing and supportive HSA. Nicoleta and Jen, to say we will miss you is an understatement. Your love, support, and presence will always be a part of our building and school community. Thank you for not only enhancing our professional life as administrators at Guggenheim, but in our personal lives as well. You are a part of our school and our community and will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Meg. Okay, now we're going to move on to the middle school, and Mrs. Javelin, who I thought I saw a few minutes ago.
I'm here. Yep. Hi,
Okay,
everybody.
great.
The HSA is a group of dedicated staff and parents that come together to discuss the students of Port Washington. This group of dedicated people is one to be admired. The Weber HSA seeks to bring the home and school into closer relations in order to raise the standards of the school's experience for Weber students. This was especially important this year with remote learning. To our HSA presidents, Kim Nauer and Liz Blacker, thank you for continuing to support the teachers and programs in our building. We worked in a partnership throughout this year. We quickly became texting buddies during the quarantine and were able to continue to communicate throughout. I deeply appreciate the partnership that we have established. Weber loves your support. Together, we were able to bring important programs such as Stephen Hill and Dr. Dewey to our students. You've helped ensure that parent voices were heard in our building safety meetings and went above and beyond to make our 8th grade promotion parade special and meaningful for our graduates. Mark Twain said, "Kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see." I enjoyed working with you this year. You were so kind and we will miss you. And I know you both will still be around next year. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And now we have Dr. Pernick.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. First, quick word of thanks to the entire HSA Executive Board, including the Gamble co-chairs, for their support these last few months. I don't think we could have communicated effectively with parents in the school without you. We certainly would not have put together the programs we put together for our graduating seniors without you. So I am eternally grateful for that partnership. A few words of thanks for outgoing HSA co-president Marlene Munnelly. What some people know is that it's never easy to be part of the HSA leadership at Schreiber High School during the best of times. It can be difficult and challenging to keep parents involved in the education at the HSA level when their kids want them very badly not to be involved at the school level anymore. Nevertheless, Marlene worked hard to keep parents involved and to recruit other parents to come and join. During unthinkable times like the ones we've been having, communication is even more challenging and requires a real steady hand as the emails increased. So thank you, Marlene, for your commitment these last few years, and thank you for working with Irene and me these last few months as we were.
Ira's been having Optimum issues all day. Or pretending to be frozen.
Is Dr. Pernick the only one frozen right now?
He's going to be going to FIOS tomorrow.
Yes, we're all with you, Nora.
Yeah,
I think
we're all
it's
here,
just
Nora.
Ira, unfortunately.
Okay, wait, video engineer is intervening. He may be
He's left the meeting. He'll be joining us momentarily. This was a dramatic pause, I'm thinking, Nora.
Well, we could segue real quickly because Dr. Suzanne has one more person to thank, and then when Ira comes back on, he could resume. So turn it over to Sherry.
Oh, sure. Just we have a paraprofessional, a long-beloved paraprofessional at Daly School retiring this year, Bernadette Slaney. Bernadette was in our library for 17 years. Mr. Kirpin, how many books do you think she checked in over those years? A lot, I would say. A lot. Bernie's going to really be missed every day if she's out there. I will miss her coming in for a Twizzler at the end of the day when she was done with bus duty. That was her reward once a day. And if you're out there, Bernadette, thank you for everything. And on behalf of the entire Daly community, have a wonderful, wonderful retirement.
Thank you, Bernadette. Dr. Pernick, have you returned? Okay, well, we shall move on, and if he comes back, he can resume. Right now, we're moving on to saying farewell, and this is a hard one, to Dr. Wafa Westerfeld, who is retiring Friday. I know that there's a number of people who would like to speak, among them your husband, so I would like for him to go first, if that's okay.
Thank you, Nora.
Thank you, Nora. All right, I'm old school. I have it written down on paper, so forgive me.
Thank you for that.
Okay, I'll try to make this as brief as I can. Thank you. If you know Wafa, you recognize kindness. If you know Wafa, you recognize brilliance. If you know Wafa, you recognize a work ethic that doesn't quit. If you know Wafa, you recognize compassion. If you know Wafa, you recognize strength. If you know Wafa, you recognize a beautiful bundle of love. When I met Wafa 28 years ago, one of the many reasons I fell in love with her was the passion with which she lives life. Everything she does with enthusiasm. She loves her family and friends passionately. She conducts all her work responsibilities with tremendous focus and commitment. When she prepares a meal for her family or guests, she cooks it with love. By the way, she's an amazing cook. Anything she does, she puts her all into it. She loves very deeply and she thinks very deeply. She also feels very deeply. So she was absolutely one of the right individuals to go into education. After all, educating others is the work that should be done from the heart when it's done correctly. My wife's taste in everything is eclectic. She loves people from all types of backgrounds, religions, cultures, ethnicities, races, etc. She listens to music in 6 or 7 different languages. She not only eats, but cooks food from many different cultures. She easily embraces those from diverse backgrounds. She doesn't judge. She just simply accepts with love. Wafa is extremely loyal. She has some of the same friends for 25 years plus. In fact, she currently has 4 girlfriends that she has known since she first arrived in America 45 years ago. How many of us can say that? When our son Christopher lost his battle with bone cancer, Wafa did not shed the tears of a stepmother. She said, shed the tears of a mother. You see, Wafa never considered Christopher and Amanda her stepchildren. She always treated them and loved them as her own. Despite her own tremendous pain and years of grief over losing Christopher, she found the amazing strength to help me and other family members to deal with this tragic loss. She's selfless and always puts other people's needs ahead of her own. We're getting almost done. I believe that Wafa is a trailblazer. You may not notice, but I believe that she's the first Arab American assistant superintendent on Long Island and possibly the tri-state area. This is truly remarkable considering that she did not learn English until the age of 10. Wafa's accomplishments, however, don't stop here. She has had an amazingly successful career in education and is also a published author, college professor, and an award-winning educator. Very early in her career in education, Wafa began to get noticed not only by her administration and colleagues, but also by board members in her district. She was a 22-year-old teacher, but had the instincts to educate students who were not much younger than she was. As a young teacher, she was often given some of the most difficult students because she demonstrated an innate ability to connect with them on a deep level and to help them succeed. She excelled and continued to excel throughout her incredible career. I believe a part of her success not only has to do with her remarkable ability to manage many responsibilities at once, a lot of responsibilities, but also to do with her remarkable, but also due to the fact that she's brilliant. Sorry, I lost my spot. However, along with her brilliance is her humility. She rarely takes credit for successes she's accomplished and always gives credit to others. Wafa's proverbial sunset is not retiring completely from work. She's too spirited for that and needs to stay busy. No doubt work will find her, but now she can choose what challenges she wants to take on. I can honestly say that she has left every place in which she has worked, including Port Washington, better off than when she arrived. To all of you, she is Dr. Westervelt. To me, I'm honored to call her my wife, my partner, and the love of my life. We've shared 28 amazing years together, and I look forward to at least 40 more. Well, that would make me very old. Wafa, I love you, and I adore the life that we have built together. You are truly my best friend. Thank you.
Thank you. That was an absolutely beautiful tribute, and thank you so
Sorry,
much.
I took up so much time.
No, you didn't, and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Rachel Gillier would like to say a few words.
Actually, Larry is going to speak first since he is the person who has chaired the curriculum committee with Wafa the longest and has actually been here for the entire duration of her tenure in Port Washington.
Okay, Larry.
Okay, thanks, Rachel. So I'm not an educator and I was a very mediocre student, so I did not do my homework and write something down. However, I did take notes, so you should be proud of that. Wafa is the 4th assistant superintendent I've had to work with, I've gotten to work with since I've been on the board, and she's by far the best one. Our curriculum was sort of haphazard and ill-defined when she came in, and she really spent a lot of time getting it together. She got a math program that worked consistently. She got people to sort of understand what they were doing and to self-reflect. She, most importantly, understands that there's generally no right answer, and that there's lots of different ways to go to a problem. And she understands and discusses with people their thoughts and accepts everybody's opinions, so everybody feels heard. She has also brought the grant writing up to a new level, which has helped our students and our budget a lot. So we really appreciate that. She, she and I didn't always agree on issues, and of course she's the expert and I'm just the board member. But and I think that was true for her relationship with a lot of people in the district. But once a decision was made, she implemented it as if it were her own, and did what she had to do. And so I, for one, am going to miss her, and I look forward. Well, I look forward to her successor only because I know who it is. But other than that, I'd be sort of worried about next year. But thank you for everything.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks, Larry. Rachel? Tom?
So it's hard to follow both of those, but I would just add that I think I've had the benefit of experiencing WAFA as an administrator who I work with as a Board of Education member, and also as a parent who was going to her on many issues. And so I think I would be remiss if I didn't mention how beloved she is by our parent community, because I think that they are very clear that she is somebody who has cared deeply about the curriculum in Port Washington and in trying to make our schools the absolute best that they can be. Parents who have sat on the other side of a table from her and been at odds with her even over what the district should or could do about something, all respect her deeply and understood that every decision that was made and every analysis that was done was always done with the best interests of the children in mind. One of the things that I've really appreciated is when she strays out of her prescribed course and talks about the WAFA school and what the ideal would look like if she could have sort of the unlimited budget and the unlimited a carte blanche to do things. And I'd like to note, especially in the times that we're living in right now, where the world has literally been on fire, we're finally having conversations about a culturally responsive curriculum in a broader way, and understanding that anti-racism has to play a role in our school community. Dr. Westerfelt brought that conversation to the curriculum committee over a year ago. And a culturally responsive curriculum was something that she raised with all of our administrators in the Board of Education as something that was important. That was the first place that I learned about it before it was a hot topic in the news. She understood how important it was that children look at the books on the bookshelf in their classroom and see their own faces, and that children who were the cultural majority see faces that look like theirs and faces that look like a lot of other people. She understood that that shapes the way children see the world, and that we have a moral obligation as educators to be thinking about the kind of leaders that we want to be raising. And the fact that we are educating children about more than just reading, writing, and arithmetic, but we're making them think about the world around them and think about the kind of citizens they want to be in that world, and also think creatively and innovatively as they learn the standard curriculum. So I appreciate you so much. I'm going to miss you very much. So everybody else knows, when Dr. Westerfelt told us she was retiring, I said, is this up for discussion? Because I'll deliver muffins to you every day if you stay next year. And I totally meant it. I think it is a great loss to the district, and I don't think it's any slight to Dr. Meoli to say that, because I know Dr. Meoli knows that we value him as well, and we're very pleased that there's somebody that can step into this role. But we really appreciate all the work that you've done for Port Washington. Larry alluded to this, but a lot of the less glamorous work has also been very important. I know the ESSA standards and the statistics and the data have been a really important part of your work as well. So thank you for all you've done to Port Washington. We'll miss you tremendously here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. We only have 10 more speeches about WAFA, then we can move on, but she deserves every bit of it. We have Pia will now be Dr. Ferrante will be speaking on behalf of APSA.
So, hi, Waka. This comes on behalf of all of us from APSA, and just want to let you know how much you're going to be missed. But Waka, you came to Port Washington with quite a feat ahead of you. You brought professional development to the district. You brought your wisdom. You brought programs, and you brought your guidance to us from all of your past experiences. You're always committed to the students, and you always had them in your focus. No matter what kind of pushback you might have gotten, the number one thing that you always wanted was for the best for our students. And we thank you for that. You have left your legacy. You have left your mark here in Port Washington. We will miss you, and we wish you nothing but the best for the future. APSA thanks you for all that you have done for us. Please do not be a stranger. We promise you we're going to pick up the celebration where we left off. But until we can do that in person, party on, have a great time in retirement. We know you're not going to be just lying around. We know you're going to be very, very busy. I'm sure you have tons of things lined up already. But from all of us at APSA, we couldn't have done this without you the past few years. So thank you very, very much for all of your contributions to Port.
Thank you. I actually have, instead of my own speech, I actually had Agate write something for me. No, seriously, Agate has written a few words, and I'm now going to read that on behalf of them, they have worked closely with WAFA over the years she's been here. WAFA, as you turn to another exciting phase of your life, we bid you farewell. Thank you for your curricular vision and leadership in the Port Washington schools. It has been a pleasure to work with you in the many facets of our school district. Thank you for your commitment to a student-centered curriculum that fosters problem solving and creative thinking. Thank you for your thorough approach to professional development. You have inspired our teachers and students to engage in lifelong learning. Congratulations on a wonderfully successful career. We wish you well. Thank you. And they said it for me too. So thank you, Wafa. That was, you are clearly going to be missed. I think Dr. Hines would like to say a few words, if there's any words left.
Yeah, I have about 20 minutes worth. No, I'm just kidding. I had no idea how many people were going to be singing Wafa's accolades. And pretty much everything I wrote down has been said. So I'm just going to speak from the heart. Before I came here to Port, Wafa has a reputation that precedes her. And so when I knew that she was here, I had right away a sense of calmness, knowing how she conducts business and what she stands for. And I will say this, and this is very true. First of all, she loves data, right? Am I right, Wafa? You love your data, right? And which is wonderful. The second thing is you have extremely high expectations, which I think is incredibly important, And I'm going to say, because I sat in your position not as long as you have in a different district, it is not easy. It changes year to year. And you always have a smile on your face. And for those of you who don't know Wafa, she has a wicked sense of humor as well, which comes out every once in a while, which is lovely to see. I will really, really miss you. You know, I think someone said it before, your shoes cannot be filled, but your legacy will remain strong. And I am very thankful for the year that I had the opportunity to work with you. And I have learned so much, and I wish you nothing but the best in your next journey, which I know you'll be on Rose Pepe's coattails very soon, and rightfully so. And so you just enjoy your next phase of your educational life and your life with your amazing husband. That was a really beautiful testament and speech. My wife would never do that for me, just so you know. So that is really, really wonderful. And congratulations, Wafa.
Okay, now you think we were finished, but we're not quite done. Now we have Dr. Stephanie Allen is going to say a few words about the outgoing SEPTA presidents.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Johnson. Congratulations again, Wafa, not just for me, but again on behalf of APSA. We definitely will miss you. So first and foremost, I really want to thank the entire SEPTA board. Many of the women involved in SEPTA are not only committed to SEPTA, but then they're also very involved in the building HSAs. So they find various ways of reaching out and connecting and doing what needs to get done for our students, all of our students in Port Washington. Mrs. Danielle Tain is our outgoing president this year, and I really want to just thank her for her time with SEPTA this past year. This is her second time as president. As somebody said earlier, we always kind of recycle people, so it's great to have those same people come back time and time again. She's truly committed to improving the programs and the supports that we've been able to offer in SEPTA, as well as increasing our SEPTA membership over the last few years. She's wonderful at communicating our mission out to people and making sure that the community is aware of what we do, who we are, and how we can support all of our families. She's an active participant in Parent Council, and she's maintained ongoing communication with PPS anytime there's an issue, which is truly appreciated. The Tains have made the decision this year to actually move to Vermont in the summer. So her, and along with her two children, Ezra and Isaac, who are both at Daly, will certainly be missed. And we thank you for all of your time, and it's been an absolute pleasure working with you. I want to take a minute also just to thank Mrs. Jennifer Robinson, our other president. She's staying on with us, and this is her 4th year with us as a SEPTA co-president. She is another one who is actively engaged in communicating our message out, making sure that families know who we are, what we can do, how we can help. She has a very strong commitment to SEPTA, and it's truly appreciated. She does everything she can to make sure we stay as strong as we possibly can. She's always also looking for new ways to increase our programs, our supports, and our memberships. She's very active in Parent Council. She's a liaison to our parents in the community. She willingly speaks to parents anytime they have questions or concerns, and if there's anything that needs to come to me, she makes sure that I know about it. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with her. She has 2 children herself, Veronica and Ben, who are both at Guggenheim, but transitioning to Weber in September. And the last thing I just really need to say is during this entire time of remote instruction, Mrs. Tain and Mrs. Robinson have been wonderful. I've reached out to them on multiple occasions to get a pulse of what's going on, if there's concerns, and we quickly work together to try to address them. So that's really been a godsend during all of this. I truly appreciate it. Thank you, Mrs. Tain. Thank you, Mrs. Robinson, and everybody else on the SEPTA board. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. Okay, now we actually are saying farewell to another administrator, and that is Stephanie Joannan, who's been here, I believe, for her entire career in education, and it's really hard to imagine Port Washington without her, I have to say. I didn't even have any kids doing athletics, and she has always been a person that I knew I could go to and could talk to, and my kids could talk to, and that's before I'm not talking about as a board member, I'm talking about just having been here for the years up until then.
I'm sorry to interrupt you again. I'm wondering, I think Wafa would like to say a couple of words, And I'm guessing that's in response to folks' comments about her, although perhaps I am incorrectly interrupting you again and she wants to speak about Stephanie, but I'm thinking she wants to thank people for their kind words.
I did, Dave. I can wait though. Nora, I can wait.
No, please go ahead, Wafa.
Thank you. I really could not speak before, which is why I waited until now to send the chat. It's very hard for me to say goodbye. My dad, God rest his soul, never liked the word goodbye. Instead, he would always say, God be with you. I don't quite know how to express what Port Washington has meant to me, personally and professionally. I have been honored and privileged to work with some of the most dedicated and truly incredible individuals, from the administrators to the paraprofessionals to the teachers to all of the district staff, including security, custodial, facilities. I really have had such a wonderful 7 years in Port Washington, and I have worked in other districts, as you well know, but there will always be a very special place in my heart for Port Washington because of the people in Port Washington. My husband really made me cry. And I'm very touched, obviously, by his words. I'm equally touched, Rachel, Larry, and to all the board members, whether you hired me 7 years ago or whether you joined the board later on. I have learned from each one of you, whether it was how to deal with a complicated issue or just to gain a different perspective on the many different conversations that we have had, the many different topics, to my colleagues in central office, to the directors, to the principals. I will not say goodbye, but what I will say is that it has been an incredible, incredible journey with all of you. Everything that has been accomplished collectively, because no individual can move anything forward, not only without the support of others, but really without the hard work of others. And so to all of you, I say thank you. And I will forever hold you very near and dear to my heart.
Thank you, Wafa. Dave, is it okay if I go ahead now and continue talking about Stephanie Joanne?
Please, President Johnson, please do.
Thank you. As I was saying, I am really going to miss Stephanie Joannan. And I have two people first who will speak about Stephanie and what she's meant to the district. First, Dr. Suzanne, and then Dr. Allen. I think, or no, not Dr. Allen. Okay,
No.
we'll have,
Okay.
well, we actually do have two people, but one, the first is Dr. Suzanne.
Okay. It is a great honor this evening to speak about our APSA colleague and my good friend, Stephanie Joannan, often referred to as SJ, Joe, Yo-Joe, Steph, the other Stephanie, and she lovingly calls me Cher. You could see the resemblance. For the purpose of this version of This Is Your Professional Life, Stephanie Joannan, I will use these nicknames interchangeably. Jo began her 40-year career in Port Washington. Let's just all take a breath and think about that. 40 freaking years. Fresh from college in 1979, Jo was the first varsity coach of the newly formed girls varsity soccer and varsity softball programs as she began her career as a physical education teacher at Schreiber High School. The next 28 years were spent as a physical education and adapted physical education teacher, in addition to coaching 3 varsity sports. It should be noted that when Jo left coaching, she was the all-time winningest coach at Schreiber High School. In 2001, Jo moved on over to team admin and became the director of health, physical education, and athletics. Little did she know the fun was just beginning. In this role, Steph was instrumental in working towards planning and implementing much of the updates to our facilities. She has been co-chairperson of the District Safety and Substance Abuse Task Force, which brought Unity Day to our community. She was an advisor to the Mental Health Club Full Support, promoted sports and athletics throughout Long Island and New York State. Steph played a big role in Section 8 athletics as president of the Athletic Council, being named Director of the Year in 2011 and elected into 2 Hall of Fames, the New York State Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame and the Nassau County Athletics Hall of Fame. Stephanie has touched the lives of thousands of students, many of whom grew up to work alongside of her as coaches and teachers. Steph has inspired her athletes to give back to the community in programs such as Serve to Serve and Lax Gives Back. She cares deeply for Port Washington and is truly irreplaceable. I could go on and embarrass her with some funny stories about her love for the Partridge Family, or how she rocked that 70s outfit for the Ed Foundation's annual gala, or how she was the last person on earth to give up her BlackBerry. But I won't, because though Stephanie is retiring from the district, she will return next year for 1 more year as Director of Athletics. So we will save the true roast for then. Stephanie, you and I first met as I was just another one of your athletes' parents, but I do not believe I ever complained about one of my kids making a team. Then later, we really bonded when I became the Director of Creative Arts. During those first few years, you were extremely supportive as I learned to navigate my way through APSA. I spent countless hours in your PE office and shed many a tear. Look at me now, still crying. They say a good coach improves your game. A great coach improves your life. On behalf of your administrative colleagues and the entire Port Washington community, thank you, Stephanie, for your leadership, camaraderie, and friendship, and improving the lives of all you have touched. Here's to good health and many, many years of riding around town with the roof down in your car. We love you.
Thank you. Now, my predecessor and longstanding board president extraordinaire, Karen Sloan, is going to say a few words about Stephanie Johannan.
Thank you, everyone. I wasn't really fully prepared to be speaking about Stephanie tonight, and so I mentioned it to her, and she told me I wasn't allowed because she's not leaving. So I am just going to say thank you to her. She is really one of the unsung heroes of the district because she just motors along doing all the many things she does, always with a smile on her face. And because she will still be here next year, I'm going to reserve the right to return because I have a lot to say about her. But I will just say thank you and congratulations on your official retirement. And I would also like to wish Dr. Westervelt congratulations and the best of luck on her retirement. And now I will read what I wrote. Thank you for having me here this evening. Before I speak to the reason I am really here, I just wanted to thank all of you, the Board of Education, and everyone in the school district for all that you have done during these unprecedented times. I would imagine it has been a steep learning curve for all of you to determine the best way to handle all the obstacles. But I know you will come out of these past few months ready to make the best plans possible for September. I have always known the people that work in Port schools are special, but for all of you that have gone above and beyond, you have our community's gratitude. And now I would like to take a moment to recognize Dave Kirpin, one of our esteemed board trustees, at his last board meeting. I had the pleasure of serving with Dave for 2 years and to watch him from the sidelines this past year. He came onto the board with a great deal of enthusiasm, fanfare, a lot of likes, and a big, huge burst of orange. He had all sorts of ideas and plans and new ways to handle old problems. I have to say, he was a handful. Wait, I lost my place. But Dave made us stop and think and review, and that is a very valuable asset for any group, a Board of Ed included. Previously, this had only been Larry's job. But now we had someone doing it from a business angle, from a seat of a well-experienced social media expert. It was interesting for me to watch because honestly, Nothing could dampen his enthusiasm for long. And though Dave had his own ideas, he was a 100% team player. His interests were to serve the best interests of our school district. It is often forgotten that board trustees are volunteers, and worth noting here because it takes a great deal of time and energy, and Dave did this while juggling countless other business commitments. This past year was his first year serving as the chair of the Budget Committee, and he helped bring a sound budget that was overwhelmingly supported by our community. Port Washington has been fortunate to have Dave Kirpin serve on our Board of Education, and he will long be remembered as the most enthusiastic, boisterous, loud clapping trustee this town has ever seen. Thank you, Dave, and good luck to you and wherever you go from here.
Wow. Dave. Thank you, Karen. I don't have to say a word. I mean, that was fantastic. You actually captured everything. And in fact, I'm glad that you did it because I am really going to miss Dave. You know, I've been working with Dave for 3 years, and I'd say that this year was different. We got off to a little bit of a rocky start, a little bit. But we built bridges rather quickly. And I say now he is really one of my go-to people, and I respect him so much. I've known about all of his business endeavors for a long time, but just recently I went on the websites and looked up to see what he actually does besides be a board member and be the chair this year of the Budget Committee, and as Karen said, do an excellent job. And he is juggling 4, maybe 5. I mean, I was kind of lost count in there. Companies that all of which any one of them looks to me like it would be a full-time job. So my hat goes off to Dave, having given us the time, given us his wisdom and his experience and his humor, because he really never stops making me laugh. Even when he interrupts me, I laugh. And here, just so people can see, this is I don't know if you can see, but this is a photocopy from the words of a very nice plaque that was made up for Dave for his 3 years of service. And it's in recognition of 3 years of service as a trustee for the board, for the Port Washington Board of Education. Dave's showing it now, the real deal. And I'm sure it will go there with some other awards that he might have received.
Thank you, Nora. And I don't know, I'm interrupting you yet again in this meeting, but I just want to say briefly that I'm really, really honored that Karen came back and said those words. Really honored, amazing. And nobody that has been, you don't really understand how hard this gig is until you do it. And there's just a lot of people out there that complain, unfortunately. But I will, for the rest of my life, have nothing but massive respect and admiration for those folks that serve on boards of education, and certainly for the folks that serve on the Board of Education in Port Washington. It's a thankless job, except for this one moment, I guess, because I feel very thanked right now. But it is essentially a thankless job. It's a really, really important job. It's a job that pays, as we all know, a grand total of 0. And I have definitely had my share of challenges with many of the current board and former board members, but I have nothing but respect for those folks, even when I've disagreed with them. And I really appreciate everyone that shows up each and every day in order to serve our students and families of this district. These past 3-4 months have been truly epic with respect to how hard the board has worked. And to anyone that is watching, I don't want to scare you to not ever run, but I want to say to you that please remember, in both good times and bad, just how hard the Board of Education works to serve your children, because it's truly amazing, and I feel very honored to have been able to serve with you all.
Thank you, Dave. You really are going to be missed. All right, I think I finished. If anybody hasn't, no, I think I finished all the thank yous. Okay, next we have our.
Nora, did Ira ever make it back to finish
I
it?
don't see him, and I just see video engineer where he was. Ira?
I'm back. I'm here.
Oh my God, please
I'm here.
proceed. My apologies.
No, my apologies for having some technology support issues. And this is actually one of the things I wanted to thank Marlene for. During times like these, it's difficult to communicate, to find ways to do it, to help host Zoom calls with large groups of parents, and to just have a steady hand throughout is something that I truly appreciate and will certainly miss. And I wanted to take an opportunity to thank her for her service and to hope that she stays involved at Schreiber in some capacity, because I do value her input. So thank you, Nora, for the opportunity to finish what I wanted to say. And thank you again to Marlene Munnelly for the great work that you've done these past few years. Thank you.
Thank you, Marlene, and thank you, Ira. Okay, now we will move on to the report of Dr. Hines.
Thank you, Nora. So Dr. Shields, just to be consistent, why don't we have the enrollment report, and then I'll just say a few words before we move on with the rest of the meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Yes, our June enrollment report was taken on June 3rd. We had 5,476 students. That is 30 less students from this time last year. And we continue to monitor the kindergarten enrollment. And I'm pleased to say that those numbers keep creeping up towards the projection of 385 students. We currently have 365 registered out of the anticipated 385, with 2 months still to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shields.
All right, so I'm just going to take a small moment just to thank everybody, not only who's here live right now, but to thank the community, since this is the end of my first year. Clearly, this has been a year like no other. But I have to say, the strong leadership of our administrative team, for sure, who many are present right now, clearly this incredible Board of Education, and the community and the teachers who have worked tirelessly to make sure our students get what they need and deserve. I'm very thankful for everything. And I really do mean it. I think all of us are incredibly tired. I think one thing we learned over the past several months is that we are on 24/7, and this will continue over the summer as we prepare to get ready for September. And so I want to end on a positive note, but I know Dr. Shields and Dr. Mioli will talk very briefly about some of the work that we have been engaged in over the past few weeks. But I want this community to know that the Board of Regents have set up meetings across the state. There are 4 regional meetings, and just like the work that we are continuing to focus on for September, they are engaged in soliciting and receiving feedback from large communities in relation to what will September look like. And the fact of the matter is, we will be waiting as a school district, like all of us, for some guidance to come our way sometime in mid-July. And until we receive that guidance, we are actively engaged in making sure that we are leaving no stone unturned, from our remote or distance learning plan to transportation, and we'll talk about those things in a few minutes. I just want the community to understand that we will be ready. We will certainly make sure that our students are safe, our staff is safe, and this is a time of extreme uncertainty. But the one thing I am certain about is that we have incredible people working in Port Washington. So I look forward to updating the community as we move forward. Thank you, Nora.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Okay, I am going to make a motion to adopt the minutes of June 16th, 2020 from the Board of Education's meeting. Do I have a second? Second?
I'll
We
second.
need that. Okay, thank you, Deb. There. I was afraid we didn't have a second there. Okay, Mrs. Callahan, you want to do the roll?
Sure. Mrs. Johnson,
Yes.
Mrs. Weisberg,
Yes.
Ms. Brooks,
Yes.
Ms. Gilliard,
Yes.
Mr. Greenstein,
Yes.
Mr. Kerpen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Callahan. Next, we are moving on to our discussion item, which tonight will be, as Dr. Hines just said, will be a overview of the work that will be done by two committees that have been set up in the district. And I will leave it to both Dr. Shields, who heads up the reopening committee, and Dr. Mioli, who is heading up the instructional committee, to share their share what they want to present on those committees. Thank you.
Thank
Dr.
you, Ms.
Shields.
Johnson. I'll begin and then I'll hand off the baton to Dr. Mioli. As Dr. Hines said, school districts across the country are trying to prepare for the beginning of the next school year. It's a complex task, given all the uncertainty that lies in front of us over the next 3 months. But here in Port Washington, we've set up a committee structure that we believe will help us be able to make decisions and address the issues that are before us. So Dr. Mioli and I will share with you the committee structure that we've put in place. And we hope to be able to accomplish this task with the timeline of being able to go out to the public in the beginning of August. But there will be updates along the way to make sure that we're giving updates to all the community members and constituents as we make progress through these decisions. So at this time, Mr. Johnert, if you could please share with the community our 2 slides. The first slide, of course, being the reopening committee. Thank you very much. I see that appearing now. So in coordination with Dr. Hines and with the support of our school board, there's 2 slides we want to share with you. As Ms. Johnson mentioned earlier, we have 2 overarching committees that we've put in place. The first one is our reopening committee, which I will help facilitate as the chair. And the second one will be the instructional committee that Dr. Mioli will help facilitate. So I'm just going to give you some insight into the first slide, which you see there before you. We have the reopening committee that has 5 different subcommittees to it. And I'll just make sure you're able to, if you can't read that, be able to hear it. The first committee is Health and Safety Protocols District-wide, and that's headed by Mr. Jim Restano. Our Special Education and Mental Health Committee is headed by Dr. Stephanie Allen. And our Transportation and Food Service Committee is headed by Mary Callahan. And Building and Protocols is headed by Dr. Bonnie Cohen. And our Communications Committee is headed by Dr. Hines. You'll notice that our Building Protocols Committee is going to be looking at the building protocols for all 3 levels at the elementary, middle, and high school. And then at the elementary level, there'll be building level committees at each of those 5 elementary schools. Now, it's important to share with the community that we have a cross-section of representatives on our committees, and those include administrators, board members, teachers, parents. We actually have law enforcement. We have a local physician engaged in the process with us. And we have been in touch with all the different constituents throughout our school district and parent leadership to help make sure we've really represented all the different voices across our committee structure that we've developed here. So I will turn it over to Dr. Mioli, who is spearheading the instructional side. And Mr. Johnner, if you could go to the second slide.
Thank you, Dr. Shields. As you can see, our organizational chart isn't nearly as complex, although the task of the committee, I think, is. We will be looking at obviously the very critical component of what instruction looks like in September. And to echo what both Dr. Hines and Dr. Shields have said, of course, nobody knows exactly what that's going to be. So we are trying to put a plan into place that we can adapt as the situation changes. But we don't, we don't want to and can't wait until the middle of July to start the planning. So like the reopening committee, the instructional committee and its subcommittees consist of a cross-section of stakeholders, including administrators, teachers, parents, board members, and students. This committee, we've met twice to date, including this morning. And the two, critical pieces that we are looking at in alignment with the reopening committee are a plan for virtual or distance learning and some kind of schedule or structure of what that teaching and learning might look like when we open in September, again, knowing that we'll have to be flexible as the situation changes. And then our three subcommittees are just really the different levels. If you can't read them, it's elementary, middle school, and high school. Once those two pieces are in place through discussions with what I'll call the big committee, then each of the grade level bands will operationalize what that learning might look like at each of those schools so that, again, we have, by the end of July, a plan in place and we have gone through the process of considering, what totally virtual learning might look like, although we don't anticipate it to be that, what some kind of hybrid might look like with a combination of live teaching and remote learning, and even, what learning might look like if all of the students come back with a lot of the constraints or restraints that the reopening committee will be looking at, such as not putting too many students in a class, having social distancing, all of those types of things. So it's kind of a daunting task, I think, for both committees, but I know we're up to it. We're looking forward to our third meeting next Tuesday, and then we will be shortly getting the subcommittees going.
Thank you. I'll just set this up. Thank you, Dr. Shield and Mioli. Do any board members have any questions?
I do.
Please go ahead. I can't.
Thank you. It's Deborah.
Yes.
So given that the governor's task force or advisory council hasn't issued guidance, and given that state ed's task force hasn't issued guidance, and given that we don't know if their guidance is going to mesh or collide or what, how are you preparing in advance in anticipation of what they might say? And if we have to change things because of what they might say, it's so many different permutations. I'm just curious as to how you're approaching it right now.
So, Dr. Shields, if you don't mind, I'd like to take a first go with that question. And Deborah, you're right. I mean, listen, we know the two task forces that you reference, we don't even know if there'll be congruence between the two, right? And that's something we certainly have to anticipate. the bottom line for us, and I think a lot of the school districts in particular, are focusing on what they can, which is what's in front of them and what they believe to be true. And the fact of the matter is, what we do know is that there are three different scenarios, right? The three scenarios are kids come in partially in a hybrid model, or they completely stay home. And that's what all the school districts are focusing on. So if we look at it from that perspective and come up with a couple of different examples for each, as we workshop through that, at least we have something in place. Because the reality is, for state ed, they won't let us know, as Dr. Mioli said, until the middle of July. Way too late. We do know, however, that there are states that are beginning school very early, right? So the southern states are starting in August, and I will say their state education departments have given them guidance, broad guidance, but guidance nonetheless that we are looking at. There are a lot of plans out there from other states that we are considering and reviewing. There's a wonderful repository of information that Dr. Shields and Dr. Mioli have as far as what prospective plans look like, and we're learning from them, and that is guiding us at the moment. I think the real question will become, and I believe you may have asked this morning, is if the governor says X and SED says Y, what direction do we go in? And I think, once if and when that does take place, I'd like to think, and I believe our attorney believes the same as well, right, that it won't happen. There should be some congruence. Then we could start making those more granular decisions as far as what happens. But the reality is, we don't have much time. All school districts don't have much time. And so I think the work that we started right now is incredibly important. I think we're in a good spot right now, but this will accelerate because we want to make sure the board has information by the end of July, early August, because you will want to review it. You will want to see if this is something that, from our recommendation, that this is something you're in agreement with, right? So you'll have questions about it, rightfully so. And so we want to allow some time in the month of August to make sure that the community understands it. And then when the kids come back in early September, we are ready to go. But right now we are going with what we do know at the moment. And as that changes, and it will change often, unfortunately, we will be prepared for that.
Thank you, Dr. Hines. Are there any other questions from the board? Okay, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. I love the chart. I just want to make sure that that chart has been or will be posted on both the website and social media, because it's great, and I want to make sure we communicate that.
We'll post it tomorrow, Dave.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Any other questions regarding the committee work so far?
Nora, I just have a quick comment. I just wanted to say thank you. I know that you began this work, Chris, and Chris Shields, Dr. Hines, Dr. Mioli, pretty far ahead of when most districts are starting. And even though it's difficult to plan without guidelines, we will certainly be in a much better place when we get the guidelines, having had all of these conversations amongst the stakeholders in the district. So I just wanted to say thank you for being, so proactive with getting this started as early as possible. A lot of districts are waiting until the summer, until after reorg, until after the budget, and you guys accelerated through all that, and I think that was a wise decision, and we appreciate your hard work here.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Anybody else? All right. Okay, thanks. Now we are going to move on to committee reports. We did have a couple of committee meetings. I see that the chair of policy and personnel is not here, and we did have a policy and personnel committee meeting. I don't know if anybody's prepared to give a quick report. If not, I can tell people that it is the audio version. Is it audio now, or would it be the? No, I guess it's was live streamed. Sure. Like the I'm back like 5 months ago. There's a live stream of the policy and personnel committee meeting that took place. I forget the day that it was now, but I think it was I believe it was last Tuesday. Okay. We did have a budget and facilities meeting today. Again, that was live streamed, so people can watch it. Mr. Kirpin, would you like to give a brief summary?
Of course, I would love to give my final budget and facilities committee report. We met this morning, and in the first of what's felt like an epic day of Board of Education meetings. Very exciting. And I think most importantly, we discussed the one-to-one initiative that Dr. Hines wants to pursue and that the board gave their consensus on pursuing. So with some of the excess dollars from this year's budget, we are going to make sure that every single student and staff member has either a Chromebook or a similar item so that we can all have equality of access to technology. And I'm delighted that we as a committee and as a board supported that initiative.
Thank you, Mr. Kirpin. We did have a diversity. I don't think we've had any other of the other committees. We did have a diversity committee meeting a week ago Friday. I forget the date now. And actually, we were going to have a discussion tonight because one of the commitments the district has made in the aftermath of George Floyd's murder and the ones that came before it, and the protests and the other events that have been going on across the country and actually across the world. We are redoubling our efforts and committed to systemic change to fight against racism, to bring on more inclusion and more of an appreciation of diversity. And it's not that we haven't been doing that, but it's that, like many other individuals, districts, cities, towns, states, we're examining what we can do to make things better. The initial move by the district was Dr. Hines's letter, which went out to everyone and expressed all of our outrage at what happened to Mr. Floyd. And the next step really was, and we talked about this at the diversity committee, was in the immediate weeks after Memorial Day, what the teachers and administrators were doing in various buildings to talk to students, to make them feel, help them better understand what was going on and to make them feel more comfortable and be able to ask questions. But the biggest change is going to be the systemic changes that we want to make within the district. I don't want to spend too much time talking about it now. I think that it really deserves to be a discussion item at our next board meeting, and Dr. Hines have actually discussed this, and I think that the board would agree. So at the July 7th meeting, which is our reorg meeting, the reorg part takes the first half hour or so, and then we have a regular board meeting. But the district's commitment to anti-racism, diversity and inclusion, and what the steps that, and it will be an evolving process, but the steps that we see now and work that needs to be done in the coming months, this coming year, those initiatives will be discussed, and we're hoping to have a robust discussion with all board members and participation, and a really thorough discussion of the ideas that we are coming up with and things that we are committing ourselves and the district to. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, thank you. Now we can actually, going on now to the consent agenda. I'm going to make a motion to adopt action items 12.1 through 12.6, and I hope I got each of them. It was a little bit, yes, 12.6. Do I have a second?
I think it should be Dave. Dave, you seconding?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to approve the cat that is meowing currently. That is a wonderful aspect of 2020.
Mrs. Callahan, can you do the roll call?
I will. Mrs. Johnson,
Yes, I'm here.
Ms. Bird,
Yes.
Ms. Brooks,
Yes.
Ms. Gilliard,
Yes.
Mr. Greenstein,
Meow.
oh, Mr. Kirpin.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Callahan. No policies right now to review. Any old business? Any new business?
After you do.
Okay, no new business. The next meeting date, as I said, and it'll be posted online, is July 7th, and I think it starts at, reorg starts at 7:30, but that can be confirmed. And then and as reorg, for those who don't know, in addition to other contracts that have to be renewed and the board voting on it, we'll also be welcoming our newest board member, and that's Julia. So I do invite everybody to come and to Julie. Okay, so I hope to see everybody.
Ms. Johnson, I'm so sorry to interrupt you yet again in my final meeting, but I just wanted to let you know I do have a song, a lovely song to play us out. If you would indulge me.
Do I have a choice?
You do. You have presidential prerogative. You can adjourn the meeting, and no one will ever hear the song that I have planned for tonight's meeting.
Oh my God, you're making me cry. Okay, now let's hear that song. And I would just say goodnight to everybody and thank you. And once again, congratulations to the parents, the graduates, the staff, everybody who made this year work. And we had so many challenges, but we've gotten through it. And I just can't express enough gratitude to everybody. So thank you. Now I will turn it over to our DJ in residence who's for his last number.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Thank you, board. Thank you, administrators. And I will turn it over to Alice Cooper.
It's going to be like school's out or something, Dave.
School's out for some.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good night. And thanks again.